Alright, let's start now. No cheat mode.
My liege, all we found among Battlin's belongings was this enchanted scroll, and a map showing the way to a place called the Serpent Isle.
Indeed. Put it on the table. Stand back!
Batlin, in the unlikely event that the Avatar stops me from coming through the Black Gate, I command you to follow the unwitting female human Gweno to the Serpent Isle. There I shall outline my plan to destroy Britannia.
'Tis my worst fear. I must send the Avatar through the pillars to the Serpent Isle.
So I say again, where was this in the previous game? So this is a spoiler, but not one that really matters. Serpent Isle is one of the four land masses from Ultima 1. Because the text barking is automatic in this game, I'll probably not voice it. Note, the same portraits used in Underworld 2. "'Twas a fearsome passage, qui sait. After we sailed between the serpent pillars, I could have sworn that we were flying. Yet here we are on the ship. I wonder if I lost anything. We may be on the ship, but the ship is upon dry land. I think that thou art correct, Aola. We did fly. Brr, dost thou notice the chill in the air? 'Tis much colder here than at home. I whom Gweno brought enough warm clothing. Do not worry so, old friend. We shall find thy wife soon enough. If you recall from the previous game, by which I mean 7, not Underworld 10. When we went to Isla House, Gwenno had a scroll saying she went here. Gwenno is long gone. So let me ask, isn't this a contradiction? The Guardian said to follow Gwenno if they should fail. But if Gwenno is already here, then doesn't that mean Badlin was in 2 places at once? And that fiend Badlin, I hope. Look, Kisa, a strange storm is nearly upon us. This is serenely not Britannia. Yes, but Higras. Gwenno is already here. Badlin teleported out of the Blackgate room just before we blew it up. So how is it that Badlin is here already? It's been 18 months. So I want you to take a quick look at what the companions are wearing. Nobody is wearing armor. Also, this bubble won't be useful, but I think we should show it. Ninth circle. Even as was foretold, I have traveled a great distance to meet with thee. My name is Loxa. But wait, I proceed too quickly. Perhaps thou art not the promised hero I must test thee, lest I give mine assistance in error. So these are copy protection questions. Now, unlike the first game, the first game just kept you locked inside the town. And the plot didn't progress if you didn't answer them. In this game, if you answer incorrectly, everyone speaks gibberish, and anything you click on becomes oink. Which if you watch the Twitch stream, you'd see I showed this off. Thou art truly the one I seek. Here is the hourglass of fate. Have a good night, Miyosekin. Keep it with thee always, for through it the monks of Senka can aid thee. I am a Senkan monk, my daughter. As such, I have devoted my life to studying the prophecies of Senka. The writings are clear. The hero shall come in the last days with 3 companions. To battle against the evil Wickas in the land. To battle against the evil witches in the land. Further, the hero shall be given guidance from a power that dwells in the void. The land is in dire need of a hero, for the end of the world draws nigh. There are storms which lash out with magical lightnings, and strange illnesses which plague the innocent. Lastly, there is the growing sense that something is wrong in the land. We are going to get a bunch more exposition dump. My time with thee is short, so take careful heed of mine advice. There is a cave further south by a large red bush. Its entrance is invisible. If thou canst find thy way in, it may provide more clues. Follow the coast until thou dost come to a great city. The name of the city is Monitor. An old friend of thine awaits thee there. As long as the hourglass of fate is with thee, if thou art killed, thou shalt be resurrected on Monk Isle. And if one of thy companions is killed, thou canst summon one of us to direct him or her by use of the hourglass. The monk shall come soon when thou art in a safe place, without strangers or distractions. The writings of Sanka speak of the three which shall travel with thee. Without them thou canst not succeed. They shall be thine oldest and most trusted friends, and it is their part to share thine adventure with thee. Chamino and I actually exist in Ultima 1. Thou must find them here, and then never let them leave thy side. If you watch me play Super Paper Mario, you might get a big of deja vu here. That's cause, just like in that game, the companions have been lost. The writings are vague on this point, so that it is not certain whether the power lives in the void now, or merely came from that place. However, I know that thou shalt need to seek out 3 artifacts, a ring, a necklace, and an earring. Through these ancient items the power shall communicate with thee. More shan this I know not. Through these ancient items the power shall communicate with thee. More than this I know not. The storms are one of the signs that the end of the world is at hand. I know not what causes them, or how they may be stopped. Much ships have ceased to sail, for the storms strike any vessel which leaves harbor. So that means no ships. The lightning does have the power to kill or to teleport, and sometimes it changes the nature of that which it strikes. The prophecies mention that a plague will come among us, to sicken the meek and the innocent. Hast thou noticed the dying birds? They are only the first victims. Ah, the canaries in the coal mine! At first the disease shall strike the wildest traces, and lastly, the race of men. At first the disease shall strike the wildest races, and lastly, the race of men. I cannot explain further. Dost thou not feel it? The sense that something is not right? Cinca speaks of these days as the time of imbalance. I must go now before those who oppose me find that I have been here. She's a meddling kid. Thou shouldst know better than to meddle in the affairs of Fate Thaxa. By merely talking with the hero, thou mayest be condemning us. We must intervene, Carnax. The very fabric that weaves the tapestry of the cosmos may depend upon it. Thou art as foolish as ever, girl. Think our writings are crystal clear. Those who seek to aid the hero shall cause her greatest calamities. I must stop thee before thou sendest us all to our doom. This fire ring shall save thee from being destroyed during this battle, hero. Neither of us means thee harm, but errors can occur in the heat of combat. Remain within the ring. I'm not so easily defeated, friend monk. Hero, listen to me before the fires consume me. Beware of thy friends. They shall only bring destruction upon thee. Carnax is defeated, for now I am weak and must leave. Remember to seek out the three companions. They must be at thy side. And watch for the ring, necklace, and earring, for by these the power shall guide thee. Seek out thy black sword with the caged demon that thou didst bring with thee from the other land. Thou must have it to complete thy quest. So if you recall, I shouldn't even be able to drop the black sword, but amazingly it's gone. Avatar, art thou all right? I heard what sounded like the explosions of a volcano. And look at all the fire here. I have been searching all over for thee. That storm hath left me quite disconcerted. I can find neither Aola or Dupre. Yolo is missing. I guess he yoloed off. And to make matters worse, nothing remains of the equipment that Lord British gave us. It hath all been replaced by strange items that I do not recognize. Perhaps thou shouldst inspect thing equipment as well. I shall make a list of what we have. Now, funny thing. Dupre also says this if Chamino isn't in the party. Which makes me think that you were supposed to find Chamino later. But for development budget reasons, he was probably just plopped down here instead of in the third town. because it seems like the reason there are 3 cities means 3 companions should be spread between them. But I digress. It's also possible you could tell Shinnu to leave and find Depre without him. I'll wager that chest is locked. If we had lockpicks, however, we could open it. Or we could bash it in. They work on locked doors too. Of course, we only use them for virtuous reasons. The Avatar is no common thief. Let us take that torch. We need all that we can find, for they do not burn long. No doubt we shall be in Main strange dungeons before our adventure is over. That's odd. Do you remember earlier? Yes, strained. It shouldn't be there. Yep, it shouldn't be there. Crap, I wonder if something got screwed up. Well, there's one way to find out. Nope. I'm gonna restart DocsBlock. Maybe it's a Hazenbug. Nope. I guess maybe it's just weird. So when you take everything off, before the teleport storm hits, for some reason the fine stockings get equipped. But I guess maybe this isn't a bug, but what it's supposed to do if you don't try to jump the gun. But then again, it's entirely possible that maybe it was supposed to make the leggings disappear. Wow, that torch lasted almost no time. A bedroll. With this, thou wilt sleep well anywhere. That seems alike to the bow I did lose to the magical storm. And we are carrying an animal skull given to us by the strange storm. It must have changed places with my bow. Kisai, it is a clue. If we find where the other strange items came from, we shall find our lost possessions. The wells can be interacted with in both. Hello below average game. Certainly know where it went. Boiler. We will be picking up more severed limbs at some point. So unlike the first game, I have the speed turned up. So it does have the consequence that also all the other NPCs move like they got ants in their pants. But unlike the first game, the frame limiter actually works. And because the cities have 2 floors, you actually want the faster speed, otherwise the cities will crawl. Halt! Who art thou, and what is thy business? Who? Never heard of thee. Well, of course, we haven't been here since Ultima One. Another stranger, most suspicious. There have not been many travelers recently. If you recall me describing the previous world as a torus. Then just where the heck are I? Just bringing up a map because I do get lost here. Oh! I mean, seriously. All 3 cities are like the same size as Britain in the first game. And I had enough of a time getting lost there. Another stranger, most suspicious. There have not been many travelers recently. The colored storms and the goblins have kept most people off the roads, and so 'tis unusual to see strangers in Monitor. Suspicious, in fact. Perhaps thou art in league with the enchanter who materialized in the center of town. We promptly jailed him. But the uproar interrupted the funeral ceremonies. "'Tis a sad affair. One of our patrols was ambushed and the goblins slew nearly all of them. Only Templar survived to return. Worse yet, the patrol was led by the champion knight, and she remains lost. We must assume that she is slain, and the helm of Monitor taken. The helm is more Ethan symbolic. Yes, the champion knight wears it, but it stands for something. It was once the property of the goblin chieftain who nearly conquered Monitor. Gee, sounds like a problem of your own making. Now that they have it again, we are in dire trouble. Thou dost show an unusual interest in this man. Speak to Lord Marston. I shall say no more to thee about the matter. Foul creatures, they are the bane of our existence. We are at war with the goblins, and have been for many generations. If it were not for the pikemen patrolling the roads, one could never travel anywhere. Spoiler. You will keep running into them. So something different from the first game. You can actually loot the bodies of goblins and dead bodies of pikemen and sell their stuff to the armorer. You can also return dead pikemen to town and get money for the too. Morbid as that sounds. If you need easy money, just round until they show up, and then bring the bodies back. And then sell the gear. We are all set without Astrid, for she was a warrior of warriors. We are lost without Astrid, for she was a warrior of warriors. Only the bravest knight can be the champion of Monitor. We compete constantly for the title, and this keeps us fit to battle the goblin hordes. Astrid was unique among us, for she had held the title for nearly 3 years. In the north, they say that women are weak, but not in Monitor. Didst thou not see the storm which passed by here so recently? Even a knight must hide from the fury of nature. Hast thou noticed the lightning? It comes in many colors, and it has sinister magical properties. Dost thou know nothing? Why, we Monitorians have rebuilt the ancient highways and added new trails and byways. Each of our commands supplies the men to guard the towers which protect the trade routes. But it is all foolishness. Thon Tower hath been conquered, and the goblins will not stop there. Why would anyone bother with going anywhere beyond Monitor? This is where courage thrives. Out there, frivolity reigns. Doesn't sound very courageous to stay here. Moonshade is nothing more than a city of mages who needs magic. It pales before a sharply honed sword. As for Fawn, the place is obsessed with strange customs, and they worship beauty. Now, how can that compare to courage? So you mighty have noticed the pattern of Thrur. There are 3 companions, 3 towns. 3 virtues that they talk about. 3 items you need to find. Art thou friend or foe? I do not know thou art a friend I shall let thee in, but thou must have an escort until thou hast spoken to Lord Marston. Thou canst find him at the crematorium mourning for the dead. Follow the road north. Remember, we shall be keeping an eye upon thee. So it took like 90 minutes just to get through all the exposition. stay here. I'm right through the cremator and there is a funeral in progress. Lords Marston, Spectre, Brendan, and Kaladin are all in the crypts paying their last respects. So this is so obvious that I think the first time I played the game it took me an hour to find it. So this is a fast travel thing. We need to find them before they go to dinner. I think we lost the escorts. Here I am breaking the game. Let's try not to lose them this time. I am not as young as I look. Dost thou know how hard it is to be small for one age? I am 14 years old, nearly old enough to be a Knight of Monitor, but everyone thinks that I'm a little girl. I'm sorry. I mean, welcome to Monitor. My name is Kentra. I have trained for a long time to become a knight. There is nothing in the world so wonderful as being a knight. My father was a knight and a very good one, but he is dead now. Sounds like a great way to die young, honestly. If only Depro was here, he could comment on what it's like to be a knight. When I turn 15, I can take the test of knighthood and become a grand warrior. Everyone says that he might be alive, but has been weeks since he disappeared. I am old enough to face the truth. He was on patrol near Monitor. He told the pikeman that he had found something suspicious, and he went to look. And he never returned. It must have been the goblin that refused to weep, but I vow that the first dozen goblins I slay shall be for him. I am strong, I am ready. The goblins will be no match for me. I have trained well. If thou dost need a trainer, I can recommend one. Everyone says that Shazana is the best trainer, but she is such a tyrant. Ever since my father Phalli de Kaladin hath been my trainer, he is big and loud and sometimes dumb, but he doth have a good heart. I have been training for the test for mine entire life. Anything that thou needest to know, I can tell thee. It truly isn't so dangerous if thou dost know the secrets. And Schmed is nothing to worry about. What wouldst thou like to know? The test of knighthood takes place in the Night Mountains just north of the city. Thou must follow the trail that leads west of the highway. But beware of goblins. They come ever closer to the city of late. Even the bravest warrior cannot be slain if ambushed. If thou dost wish to take knight's test, thou must ask Lord Marston for his permission. These actually aren't a secret, since everyone in Mine Order knows how knight's test doth operate. To become a knight, thou must survive the dungeon thrower. Simply remember these tips. Do not look back, the explosions will overcome thee. Move swiftly at first. Explosions. Hey, we found the Michael Bay dungeon tips. Look upwards as well as from side to side. There are clues that would otherwise escape thee. Be prepared to climb. Timing is essential. The fiery missiles can be outrun if thou dost watch carefully. Use thine hands to search as well as thine eyes, for some things are invisible. The last chamber is kept a secret. But I would wager that it is as easy as the rest of the dungeon, if thou dost keep a calm head and steady nerves. Oh, he is the old man who administers the test. I do not like him much. He looks at me oddly sometimes. He will not let thee into the dungeon until thou dost give him the password. Only Lord Marston can give the password to thee. Schmidt also disarms thee, since thou canst only enter the knight's test with a mace and leather armor. And no companions may accompany thee. am Spectre Treasurer of Monitor. Frankly, I do so many things. I am Monitor's treasurer. Lord Marston may order things done, but I must find a way to pay for it all. I handle the books and the paperwork, and I'm the local money exchanger. I also collect and administer taxes. Frankly, I'm not much of a fighter, even though I am a knight. Heck if I know. Oh, thou must be speaking of that wild rogue mage that was recently arrested trying to disrupt Grode's funeral. I believe he said his name was Olo. Thou shouldst speak with Lord Marston. He dealt with him. Oh no, poor Yellow. We gotta find him. Well, I dutifully passed the test of knighthood when I was 15, but frankly, not everyone was born to be a knight, I admit it. What I am is an intellectual. Other knights may scoff, but I don't care. I might be an easy target on the list field, but in a debate I may kill her. Perhaps thou shouldst consider taking the test of knighthood. It is not so difficult with proper training. We citizens are so much nicer to thee when thou art a knight rather than a stranger. We distrust outsiders. That a major clue. Cause everyone is rude to hear and hear until you do. Greetings, stranger. I am Lord Marson. Thou hast come to the city at a grievous hour. Why does this guy look like Chuck Norris with a funny hairdo? We are here to entomb the ashes of this brave pikeman Groat, as well as to mourn the loss of our knight champion. Astrid was the finest knight that Monitor ever had. The goblins ambushed her patrol. They slew all but one of the pikemen. And took Astrid's body back to their camp to be feasted upon and used to make their sickening trophies, no doubt. When the reinforcements came, they were a mere moments too late. They managed to rescue Groat, but his injuries were too severe. Not even our healer Herna could save him. Damn the goblins! They should be exterminated. Well, racist much. What business dost thou have with me, stranger? It was most disrespectful, the way that Enchanter did interrupt our memorial service. The white-haired wizard appeared on top of the cremator, in the most reverent part of the ceremony. They think he's a wizard 'cause he has white hair. I ordered him jailed. We are very strict here in Monitor. Also, if he was a wizard, why not magic his way out of jail? Could this be our friend Iolo, my lady? Yep, 'cause the other guy already said that. Then there's just to visit the criminal at jail. We have our hands full in this town with the goblins, and we do not need such pranksters in Monitor. Knight Champion is the most revered title in Monitor. More than Lord. To be Knight Champion is to be the finest warrior in the land. To hone their skills, our knights meet daily on the list field to spar, thus they demonstrate their martial prowess. From success in tournament and in battle, the knight champion is determined. He or she is privileged to wear the helm of Monitor. Thou canst hardly miss the list, fiend. 'Tis the walled field in the south part of town. Thou canst hardly miss the list field. 'Tis the walled field in the south part of town. There is no shortage of opponents, especially if thou dost go there in the late morning or afternoon. Even strangers like thyself are welcome to spar. 'Tis good preparation for the test of knighthood. I am the Lord of Monitor, the City of Knights. There are 3 bodies of knights in the city. No command is better than another, for all warriors are equal. As the leader of the leopards, this is my year to rule Monitor. We are the peacemakers. The bears and the wolves always quarrel, but we stop them from wringing each other's necks. We bring balance to the community. 'Tis not always glorious to be a leopard, but we are proud to do our duty. The bears have saved this city again and again. They never forget that we live under siege, that the goblins could always attack. The city walls were constructed by the bears. They are tough, strong, powerful warriors. Kaladin is their lord. Remember, we were told Kaladin is kin to big and dumb. The prosperity of Monitor is due to the foresight of the wolves. They have forced us to reach out to our fellow man. The wolves repaired the ancient highway and made new roads to link the Thoracities. They built the guard towers. The wolves repaired the ancient highway and added new roads to link the three cities. They built the guard towers. Brendan, is their lord the levels or Esmart preferring cunning over brute force? Brendan is their lord. The Wubbles are smart, preferring cunning over brute force. Every citizen of the town must become a Knight of Monitor, or be banished when they reach the age of 15. Whoa, harsh. The Knights are organized into 3 war bands, which are known as commands: the Bears, the Wolves, and the Leopards. As thou hast no doubt noted, our tattoos mark us according to our command. Canst thou imagine the horrors of being devoured alive? She was a masterful warrior, and deserved a finer death than this. Understand, stranger, that Marson and this woman were bedmates. Uh-huh. There is a nano repulsor, and certainly not able to reclaim the helm of Monitor from the goblins. Wow, sounds like a quest if there was ever one covered in obvious quest. I think we're going to be looping the conversations, so I'm gonna just say bye and go find Iolo. But why hast thou come to our town? What is thy business here? Perhaps she is a spy for the goblins. No, I do not agree with all this talk of a spy in our midst. Do not let these rumors divide our city Kaladin. Yet there was that other suspicious stranger, the fat sage. Whom I threw out of town. And that scholarly woman with fine bone structure, but able too old to pleasure me. Oh God, please stop. Could he be speaking of Iola's wife, the good Lady Gwenno? And do not forget the enchanter who appeared in the midst of the funeral services for our deceased pikemen. Warriors, be still. There is no spy in Monitor, and I refuse to hear more of this. Hey, look who's he. Kiseye. I thought I would never find thee. When that strange storm struck, there was a flash, and then I found myself in a wilderness. Fearing to be slain by the goblins patrolling the woods, I instead took shelter in this walled city. He speaks as if this was a week ago. But these pikemen insist on escorting me to their leader. That is all right. If thou art with my friend here, thou needest not speak with me. Oh, what? I am the Undertaker of Monitor. Didst thou not know that? I thought everyone knew that. Do not fret, knight, that one day I shall cremate thee. That is never mind. Hey, look, actual guards in a store. Please free thine old friend. There hath been a terrible mistake, lady. That storm transported me to this odd city. Because I am a stranger, they arrested me. They say that I am an enchanter. Speak to Lord Marston and win my freedom. I know thou shalt not leave me. And now we gotta run back. Nope, they're gone. Now we gotta find them. Oh, look, a locked door. I understand thou hast spoken with this villain. Then explain to me thy friend's actions. Is he a sorcerer? Then how did he appear in the middle of the funeral? Doth he fly? Indeed, the storms have been known to magically displace their victims. If only thou were a knight, then I could let thee vouch for thy friend and let him free. Oh, I guess we do have to do the knight's test then. I seem to have memories of it just being a lot of dodging stuff. But thou art merely a stranger here. None can take the test of knighthood without the permission of the Lord of Monitor. Dost thou seek my permission? Very well. Shmed will ask thee the password. Tell him this. Courage is the salt of life. Now, fortunately, we don't need weapons for those. Be right back.